So, my thought today is going to be a little different than type of thoughts given in the past. Yesterday was the 25 years ago yesterday, my father passed away. And I guess I want to share a little bit of remembrances and some thoughts about that. And it's 25 years is a long time. I was a young man in my early mid-20s when he died of cancer. He had a 2-year battle with cancer. And for me, you know, he taught me a lot, and I want to share that with you today. You know, it's interesting, after he passed away, about 6 months after he passed away, all those years ago, I was reading a book. And in the book, the author was, this story centered around the author losing his father as well. And the author said something, he wrote something in that book that just struck me, like, wow, that's exactly what I was feeling and thinking. And the author said something akin to that you can sort of split the world into two groups of types of people. You know, one group is the people who have experienced what it is about to lose a loved one. And the other group is from people who've never really had it, unfortunately, never really lost a loved one. And really, the people from each group, they view the world differently. If you have gone through that, you know what it's about, and losing a loved one, the difficulty it is, and how you think that through. And everything is now colored in your world about having that experience, versus those who don't have as much empathy. And when he said that, it kind of struck me, like, yeah, that's how I'm thinking, because I'm talking to a lot of other folks. In my mind, they're going along their world merrily without having that experience along the way. And so, as I think about my dad, a little bit more about my dad. So I grew up on the East Coast. My grandfather immigrated from Italy when he was 19 years old. The typical immigrant story. He got a job as a tree trimmer. Decided to get married, so we went back to Italy to find a wife. Found a wife, came back with a wife and child, and a few months later my dad was born. And they lived in a poor community in New Jersey. It was a racial mixed neighborhood, the Italians and the blacks together on the south side of the tracks. My dad, at the age of 14, while still in school, went to work. He was the oldest son of 6, and he had to support the family. And so he went to work, and he ended up working with that company for the next 46 years. He worked with that company until he died. My dad, you know, he learned from his father what it's like. The American success story is to make a better life for your next generation. And his dad believed in that, my dad believed in that. My dad worked hard. He helped put his sons through college. My dad was a supermarket grocery manager. He did terrific. He had great skills with people. He understood numbers really well, but he wasn't formally educated. And so he hit a ceiling. He knew he couldn't go any further in life. And in fact, many of the future executives of that company ended up working for my dad, and he trained them how to get better. And so he wanted to make his children's life better as well. So that's what he dedicated his life to. And so to me, it's what we learned from my dad. He was a really good leader, and he kind of always explained things to us and taught us about life. And really, what he taught us is not to judge people, is to do your best, work hard. Hard work and providence will pay off. And mostly what he taught is be proud of yourself. Be proud of who you are and what you can accomplish. And if you stay proud and work hard, you'll do well in life. He was, to me, an amazing man. You can tell he was my hero along the way. And you know, even in the end, in the last 2 years when he had cancer, when he was battling the pain, you know, what I learned from him was just the amazing part of grace. He always had a smile, even though he was in pain, he always had a smile for people. He always spoke well with people. He never lashed out in bitterness about what he was going through. So, you know, beginning of July is always the time where, you know, I think a lot about my dad. And in fact, the whole month of June I think about him quite a bit. In fact, to me, June is almost like a gloomy month for me. I get sort of dark and angry about it. So I grew up on the East Coast, and each year I try to get back. And this past, a couple weeks back, I went to visit my mom back on the East Coast. And about 3 weeks ago I was there, and I was visiting the gravesite of my father. And I was standing over the gravesite, and knowing, you know, it's 25 years, it's been a long time, I was trying really hard to remember. And I was getting mad at myself, because I was having a harder time remembering his smell, his touch, his sound, how he talked to me. And I was getting really frustrated that, oh my gosh, am I forgetting about my father? And as I sort of get myself worked up over this, an old man was in the cemetery as well. He came over and talked to me. He was visiting the grave sites of former firefighters, that type of thing. And after a while, we stopped to chit-chat, and he left. And then I looked down at the headstone that was on my father's grave. And it had this line. It had the line written in there. It says, "To live in the hearts of those we leave behind is not to die." And at that moment, I realized the anger went away. It's not about me trying to remember his touch and his smell and his sound of his voice. It's about remembering him in my heart and the lessons he taught me. And to me, then all of a sudden I got to a peaceful stage, because as I reflected back, I haven't really missed him in the last 25 years, because he's been with me. He's been, those lessons he worked hard to teach his children have been in me the whole time. And the sadness I have is that other people haven't had the chance to experience it. My sons never knew him, and so they haven't had a chance to experience his lessons as well. But to me, what he taught us is so very important. And he was, to me, a terrific father. I yearned to be the father he was. I yearned for my sons to be the father he was. I yearn for all of us to be the father he was. And whether you're a father today or a father tomorrow, in the future, you have an opportunity. The point is, you have an opportunity to influence lives and to make lives better for other people. And if you take those 3 simple messages of sort of hard work, not judging others, and being proud of yourself, I think you all will do well in life. So thank you for letting me share the thoughts of my father.
Thank you.